The underwear was white. Pure white. The kind of white that seemed to glow even in darkness. And when the old woman pressed it into Chidinma's hands, her grip was cold as river stones in January. "Never take it off," Mama Kelechi whispered, her cloudy eyes fixed on Chidinma's face. "Not even to bathe. Not even to sleep. Promise me." Chidinma stared at the garment, confused. She had only come to fetch herbs for her mother's headache. She didn't expect this. Didn't expect a strange gift. Didn't expect the warning that made her skin prickle with unease. "Mama, I don't understand. Promise me." The old woman's voice cracked like dry wood breaking. Chidinma swallowed hard and nodded. "I promise." Mama Kelechi released her grip. Her shoulders sagged with what looked like relief. Or exhaustion. Or something else Chidinma couldn't name. "Good," the old woman breathed. "Now go. Quickly. Before nightfall." Chidinma left the herbalist's compound clutching the underwear in one hand and the fever herbs in the other. Behind her, she heard Mama Kelechi's door slam shut. 3 times. As if sealing something inside. Or keeping something out. Chidinma lived in Umulara village, a small community tucked between hills that turned purple at sunset. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone's business, where market days were festivals, and where the elders still remembered stories that made children afraid to go outside after dark. She was 19 years old, beautiful in the effortless way of young women who don't yet know their own power. She worked at her aunt's provision store, helped her mother with the younger children, and dreamed of going to university in the city. A normal girl. An ordinary life. Until Mama Kelechi gave her the underwear. That evening, alone in the small room she shared with her younger sister, Chidinma examined the garment more closely. It was simple, no lace, no decoration. Just plain white fabric that felt impossibly soft between her fingers. Almost alive. Warm, despite having been in her bag all afternoon. "What's that?" her sister, Adana, asked from the doorway. Chidinma quickly folded it. "Nothing. Just something Mama Kelechi gave me." Adana wrinkled her nose. "That old woman is strange. Mama says she talks to spirits. Mama says a lot of things. She also says Mama Kelechi used to be the most beautiful woman in 3 villages. Until something happened to her." Chidinma turned to face her sister. "What happened?" Adana shrugged. "Nobody talks about it. But I heard she had a daughter once. The daughter disappeared." A chill traced down Chidinma's spine. She thought of Mama Kelechi's desperate grip, her cloudy eyes, the way she'd made Chidinma promise. "Go and help Mama with dinner," Chidinma said quietly. When Adana left, Chidinma locked the door. She changed into the white underwear, feeling foolish but unable to shake the old woman's warning from her mind. The moment the fabric touched her skin, something shifted. The air in the room grew warmer. Sweeter. She felt protected. Wrapped in something she couldn't explain. It wasn't uncomfortable. Actually, it felt right. Natural. Like the underwear had always belonged to her. She looked at herself in the small mirror hanging on the wall. Nothing looked different. But she felt different. Safer. The first sign came 3 days later. Chidinma was at the market, helping her aunt arrange bags of rice, when she noticed a man watching her. He stood across the road, half hidden by a packed bus, his eyes fixed on her with an intensity that made her stomach turn. He was tall, well-dressed, wearing dark sunglasses even though the sun had already begun to set. Something about him felt wrong. Off. Like looking at a photograph where the shadows don't fall the right way. "Auntie, who is that man?" Chidinma asked. Her aunt looked up, squinted across the road. "What man?" "The one in the sunglasses. Standing by the bus." Her aunt stared for a long moment. I don't see anyone. Chidinma blinked. The man was still there. Still watching. Still smiling now, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. You don't see him? Chidinma whispered. See who? Chidinma, are you feeling well? Before Chidinma could answer, the man raised one hand. Not waving. Pointing. Directly at her. Then he vanished. Not walked away. Vanished. Like smoke blown by wind that wasn't there. Chidinma grabbed the table to steady herself. I need to go home, she said. Her aunt touched her forehead. You're burning up. Go. Rest. I'll manage here. Chidinma nearly ran home, her heart pounding against her ribs. The streets felt too long, the shadows too deep. Twice she looked over her shoulder, certain someone was following her. No one was there. But she felt eyes on her back. Hungry eyes. Patient eyes. When she finally reached her house, she locked herself in her room and sat on the bed, breathing hard. The white underwear felt warmer against her skin. Pulsing gently. Like a heartbeat that wasn't hers. That night, she dreamed. In the dream, she stood in a forest she didn't recognize. The trees were ancient, their branches twisted into shapes that looked almost human. Almost screaming. A woman walked toward her through the mist. Young. Beautiful. Wearing a white dress that moved like water. You're wearing my protection, the woman said. Her voice echoed strangely, as if coming from far away and very close at the same time. Who are you? Chidinma asked. I was Mama Kolechi's daughter. My name was Neoma. Chidinma's blood went cold. I died 20 years ago, Neoma said simply. But I didn't go quietly. I couldn't. Not after what he did to me. What who did? Neoma's beautiful face twisted with rage. The man who haunts beautiful girls. The one who takes their beauty and wears it like a coat. The one who's been hunting in this village for 50 years, taking one girl every generation. Chidinma stepped back. That man at the market. Yes. He saw you. And once he sees you, he doesn't stop until he has you. Unless, Neoma gestured to Chidinma's body. Unless you're protected. My mother gave you what she made for me. What I should have worn the night he came. Why didn't you wear it? Neoma's eyes filled with tears. Because I was foolish. Because I was hot that night and I took it off to sleep. Just for one night. I thought one night wouldn't matter. The forest around them began to dissolve. The mist grew thicker. Don't take it off, Neoma whispered urgently. No matter what. No matter how uncomfortable. No matter who tells you to. He will try to trick you. He will try everything. But as long as you wear the protection, he cannot touch you. Cannot take you. Cannot. Chidinma woke up gasping. Her room was freezing. Her breath came out in visible clouds. And standing in the corner, barely visible in the darkness, was the shape of a man. Watching. Waiting. She couldn't scream. Fear had stolen her voice. She could only stare as the shadow moved slightly, tilting its head as if studying her. Then it spoke. Beautiful girl, it whispered. Don't you want to take off those heavy clothes? Aren't you hot? Uncomfortable. The voice was smooth. Hypnotic. Like honey poured over broken glass. Chidinma's hand moved toward her waist without her permission. Her fingers touched the waistband of the white underwear. That's it, the shadow encouraged. Just slip it off. You'll feel so much better. So free. Her fingers hooked under the fabric. Then she remembered Neoma's face. Her tears. Her warning. Chidinma yanked her hand away and pulled her blanket up to her chin. No, she said, her voice shaking but firm. The shadow grew taller. Darker. Angrier. You think that will protect you forever, it hissed. I have time. I have patience. Everyone sleeps eventually. Everyone bathes. Everyone. Get out. Chidinma screamed. The shadow laughed, a sound like rats in the walls, and dissolved into nothing. But the code remained. Morning came too slowly. Chidinma hadn't slept again. She sat with her back against the wall, watching the corner where the shadow had been, waiting for sunrise like a drowning person waiting for air. When the first cock crowed, the temperature in the room normalized instantly. The oppressive presence vanished like it had never been there. Chidinma dressed quickly and went straight to Mama Kolechi's compound. The old woman was sitting outside, grinding herbs in a wooden mortar. She looked up when Chidinma approached, and something like relief crossed her weathered face. You're still wearing it, she said. He came to my room last night, Chidinma said, her voice trembling. The man. The shadow. Your daughter told me. You dreamed of Neoma. Mama Kolechi's eyes filled with tears. She still watches. Still tries to warn others. Chidinma sat down heavily on the ground beside the old woman. Tell me everything. Please. I need to understand. Mama Kolechi stopped grinding. She stared into the distance, into a past that still haunted her. His name is not important because it changes, she began quietly. But what he is, that never changes. He is old. Ancient. A spirit that feeds on beauty. On youth. On life. He appears in villages, stays for decades, hunting. Always hunting. Beautiful young women. One per generation, so people forget. So they think the disappearances are coincidence. How does he take them? He marks them first. Sees them. Claims them with his eyes. Then he visits their dreams. Their rooms. Their thoughts. He whispers. Tempts. Waits. He cannot take someone by force, there are rules even for creatures like him. But if a girl removes her protection willingly, even for a moment. Mama Kolechi's voice broke. Then he enters. And he takes everything. Her beauty. Her youth. Her life. He wears it like a mask until it fades, then he hunts again. The underwear stops him. It's blessed. Soaked in prayers and herbs and the tears of mothers who've lost daughters. It creates a barrier he cannot cross. But only if you never remove it. Never. Not for bathing, not for changing, not for anything. The moment your skin is exposed, he can enter. Chidinma felt sick. How long does he hunt for? Mama Kolechi met her eyes. Until you die of old age. Or until you sleep once. That's my whole life. Yes. The old woman's voice was heavy with sorrow. I'm sorry, child. Once he marks you, there is no other way. Neoma removed hers for one night. One night. And I found her the next morning, empty. Just a shell. He'd taken everything that made her her. Tears streamed down Chidinma's face. Why me? Why did he choose me? Because you're beautiful. Because you're young. Because he's hungry again. Mama Kolechi reached out and gripped Chidinma's hand. But you're stronger than Neoma was. I see it in you. You can survive this. Many women have. They wear the protection until they're old and no longer beautiful to him. Then he loses interest and moves on to easier prey. How many years? 30. Maybe 40. Until your beauty fades. Chidinma wanted to scream. Wanted to cry. Wanted to tear the underwear off and run into the forest and never come back. But she thought of Neoma's empty shell. She thought of the shadow in her room. She thought of her mother, her sister, her life. "I'll wear it," she whispered. "For as long as it takes." Mama Kelechi pulled her into an embrace. The old woman smelled like herbs and would smoke an old grief. "You're brave," she whispered. "Braver than you know." The months that followed were the longest of Chidinma's life. The shadow came every night. Sometimes it spoke. Sometimes it just watched. It tried everything: promises, threats, sweet words, terrifying visions. It appeared as a handsome man. As her father. As a priest promising salvation if she'd just trust him and remove the cursed garment. But Chidinma never broke. She learned to bathe wearing the underwear. Learned to change clothes carefully, never fully removing the protection. Learned to sleep with one hand always touching the waistband, a reminder never to take it off even in sleep. The village noticed changes in her. She became quieter. More serious. Old beyond her years. Young men who'd once courted her backed away, sensing something they couldn't name surrounding her. Something that made their instincts scream danger. Good, Chidinma thought. Let them stay away. She was marked. Claimed by something dark. She wouldn't risk anyone else. Years passed. 5 years. 10. 15. The shadow's visits became less frequent. Less aggressive. It was losing interest. Moving on to easier prey. By the time Chidinma turned 35, the visits had stopped completely. She was no longer young. No longer the beauty that had caught the shadow's eye. Grey had appeared in her hair. Lines around her eyes. The soft curves of youth had hardened into the strong angles of middle age. She was finally free. But she kept wearing the underwear. Just in case. 20 years after receiving the gift, Chidinma returned to Mama Kelechi's compound. The old woman was dying. Everyone knew it. She lay on a mat in her dark hut, breathing shallow and slow. But when Chidinma entered, Mama Kelechi's eyes opened. "You survived," she whispered. "Because of you," Chidinma said, kneeling beside her. "Because of you," Mama Kelechi corrected. "Your strength. Your obedience. Your faith." She reached out with a trembling hand. "I can die in peace now. 2 daughters, 1 lost, 1 saved. The balance is better. What should I do with it?" Chidinma asked. "The underwear. When you're gone." Mama Kelechi smiled faintly. "You already know." And Chidinma did. She would wait. Watch the village. Wait for the shadow to mark another girl. And when he did, she would give her the gift. The warning. The protection. She would become the new Mama Kelechi. The guardian. The keeper of terrible knowledge. The old woman who gives strange gifts to beautiful young girls and tells them never to take them off. The cycle would continue. It had to. Because the shadow never truly died. He just waited. Patient. Eternal. Hungry. And someone had to stand guard. Mama Kelechi died that night, peaceful, finally released from her decades-long vigil. Chidinma buried her with honors. Then she returned to the old woman's compound, gathered the herbs and prayers and knowledge. And she waited. 3 years later, a girl came to her. Young. Beautiful. 16 years old and glowing with the kind of beauty that made people stop and stare. The girl wanted herbs for her mother's cough. But Chidinma saw something else. She saw the shadow. Standing behind the girl. Invisible to everyone except those who knew what to look for. Smiling. Claiming. Marking. Chidinma went to her special room and returned with a white garment. Pure white. The kind of white that seemed to glow even in darkness. She pressed it into the girl's hands, her grip firm and urgent. "Never take it off," Chidinma said. "Not even to bathe. Not even to sleep. Promise me." The girl stared at the underwear, confused. "I don't understand." "Promise me." Chidinma's voice cracked with the weight of decades of knowing. The girl swallowed hard and nodded. "I promise." Chidinma released her grip. Her shoulders sagged with exhaustion and relief. "Good," she breathed. "Now go. Quickly. Before nightfall." The girl left, clutching the underwear in one hand and the herbs in the other. Behind her, Chidinma closed her door. 3 times. Sealing something inside. Keeping something out. And in the shadows of the compound, something ancient and patient smiled. The hunt had begun again. But so had the protection. The cycle turned. As it always had. As it always would. Some gifts come with warnings for good reason. Some promises must never be broken. And some old women give strange presents because they carry knowledge too terrible to explain, knowledge that can only be passed down through faith, obedience, and the desperate hope that the next generation will be strong enough to survive. Chidinma stood in her doorway, watching the girl disappear down the path. She touched the waistband of her own underwear, still white after all these years, still warm, still protecting. She would wear it until she died. And even then, she suspected, it would continue its work. Some protections run deeper than cloth. Some warnings echo across generations. And some old women know secrets that keep the darkness at bay, one beautiful girl at a time. If this story left you thinking about the warnings we ignore and the gifts we don't understand, please like, share, and subscribe for more African folktales that will stay with you long after the story ends. Thank you for listening.